Hey guys, it's Michael Mamasis from OYOB, and today we come to you from the confines of our home, coming to say hello. And normally at this time we're giving people an update, and today I'm actually joined by Patrick, our architect, who runs Your Little Babies, our projects, and he's going to give you a little bit of an insight on how things are going and his end. How you doing, Patrick?
Well, thank you, Michael. And hello, everyone. Good morning. It's been 6 months, I think, since the last time we were in normal circumstances. I hope you guys are all keeping well and look forward to sharing a lot of news with you.
But today we do it by the confines of our prisons, eh?
Yeah, that's right.
We were fortunate enough to catch up, obviously, as we do every 6 months with our investors last March. And, you know, those of you who have been to our sessions before will actually realize that we start off reminding people actually why we do what we do. You know, and at OYOB, it is our mission to help everyday Australians achieve their goals through tailored opportunities. Now, in that wholesale space and development space, and of course, our vision is also to build that generosity economy. And those of you who have been members of our community long enough know that we actually then have a little bit of fun by helping charities with our tuk-tuk rides and bike rides, etc. Now, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. Hopefully next time round we're able to catch up in person. But today's really all about just giving you an update with what's going on. I've also been speaking to a lot of our community over the last 6 months that we've been going through this process and fielding questions on how we're being affected and what's going on. So by the end of today, you'll probably realise that we've been utilising this time, and Patrick and his team have been kept really busy exploring opportunities. So, whenever there is a situation of, I suppose, negativity and downturn, we do create opportunities out there, and that's what they've been doing. But those of you that remember our meeting in March, I'm always reminding people to be patient. There's a difference between speculation and investment. And we're all about investment. And if you think about what Warren Buffett says, you can read it there. Successful investment is all about patience. And our model is all about creating. And your favorite word, Patrick, latent value, takes time, doesn't it?
Yeah, takes time to find it and takes time for it to mature.
Yeah, so, what we're doing behind the scenes is obviously creating latent value through our projects. And, those of you that have been with us long enough realize that it takes time. And we've been over the time being able to develop different opportunities now that our investors are actually able to take advantage of. If you think about the different things that we do, we started obviously with that greenfielding land model, and that process does take time, and we've learnt from experience. Those of you who are invested in greenfielding realise it's roughly a 5-year proposition, and that's all about capital growth. And then we sort of went into, when we started developing projects, rather than go to the banks for money, we're able to offer our clients the returns, and they could be the bank. And so we created the income products that we've actually got within the developments. And then, of course, I'll be sharing examples of those. And then once we went into the different segments of development, we were able to create opportunities for our investors to get into different types of projects like childcare, shops, etc. And I'll be sharing all that with you. But those of you who were around in March would have remembered how, I suppose, emotional I got about the year 2020. And I was really upbeat in March on what it was going to look like, because this was the year that every single person that had been touched by our investment model was actually going to see stuff happening. We had clients come out of Mernda and get their rewards. The childcare centre in Mernda came out, and we got the tenant, and people are getting their money. Those of you that were in Caroline Waters, Patrick will be sharing where that's at, but they're getting their money this year. Rivers Run is being released in retail this year. And, those of you, okay, you're not coming out today, but you're able to see what's happening. Soon Patrick will be sharing some exciting news about that. So this was the year where every single person within our investment community in the past was actually going to see the benefits of their initial trust. Because I keep reminding people that this model started with a group of people trusting us with a good idea. It's now come further that the trust is now creating exceptional returns for our investor community. And I can genuinely say to you, and Mary will be sharing these things with you shortly, that we're actually changing lives. You know, I can think of one case will be shared shortly that was a, you know, Caroline Waters investor who was just initially getting his money out. And you may remember, Patrick, you know, Raj was a bit concerned when it was money and block of land. And have you done the right thing? And eventually what's happened now is we've been able to sit down with him, with our group of experts. I think by setting him up with David, who's an expert on structures, he's saving something like $40,000 or $50,000 in tax. But then Dill has been able to help him achieve his dream. And his dream was to help underprivileged or people with living with disabilities. And now he's reviewing and partnering up with us, possibly moving forward into a product called SDA, which is disability housing. Isn't that exciting, Patrick?
Yeah, look, there's a bit of research in that area. And I think that it's definitely underprovided in that area. And you know, like you said, Michael, there's a chance for us all to do good as well as do good business in the area that we are really an expert in that field. You know, it covers all bases for us. So it's an area that we're really interested to pursue, and we're doing a lot of research at the moment into it.
And as I've been saying with some of the updates that Felicity and our marketing team have been putting out to you over the last few months, you know, I've been spending time with Amalia, who's actually another partner who's come on board to help you and our clients as a property mentor. You know, she's been researching what's happening in the space. And, you know, I get every second person asking me about the current economy and what's happening. Well, when you look at it, you know, I put out an article or a review that I saw from CoreLogic, a video on Facebook yesterday. And, you know, you've got the experts talking about how this pandemic has affected Australia, and we've seen some minor downturns. But you know what was really interesting? One of the things that I remember coming straight out of that is that even during this pandemic, in Melbourne, even with agents not being able to access property, sales are still being made, and the average price is still about 5% greater than what it was 12 months ago. And if you go back over history, property has always been resilient. And when you take a long-term approach on it, and when you take a strategy of hold, create latent value, get the best out of it, and then go to the next level, you really, really can't go wrong. And this is the time that it's going to prove it. Go back to the recessions we had to have, go back to the GFC, go back and do your own research if you don't want to take it from me. Property has always remained resilient and rebounded. And what we've been doing behind the scenes, you know, while some people have seen every single Netflix opportunity that's come up on TV at the moment and don't know what to do with themselves. I know Patrick and his team have been inundated with projects to look at, projects to research. You know, I personally have been seeing more people during this pandemic than what I ever had within the office. You know, I'm back to back on Zoom meetings because our team of business partners have realized that, hey, this is the time to help people create something for tomorrow. Yes, I understand initially, and some of you may still be scared. You know, I understand that has affected some of us, and those of you that has affected greater than others of us, you know, we're there for you, and I don't want to downplay that. But isn't it the perfect time and opportunity to think about tomorrow? The stresses and struggles that you have of today, if you take the advantage of what's going on and create something for tomorrow, and we're there to help you every step of the way, maybe the next time in 5, 7, 10 years time, and again, those of you that study cycles, and my mind has gone straight to our friend Peter Seisland, Patrick, who's really into studying the cycles. You know, he's saying maybe the next time is 26, 27. Well, okay, if you start to prepare yourself today, and come 26 and 27, the only worry that you have is not financial, then won't life be greater for you? And that's the only message that I'm going to give you. You know, like, I mean, you know, just think about this opportunity that you have. We're taking advantage of it, and we're going to share the way that we're taking advantage of it by the end of our session today. And then I'm going to encourage you to basically think about taking advantage of it, or just getting an idea of what's going on. So Next thing that we'll do basically is maybe take you through what's happening with our projects, and Patrick can let you know what's going on there. I'll give you a little bit of insight to the marketplace, and then we'll sort of finish off by letting you know what's going on. So let's start obviously with greenfielding our land project. First up was the first of them, Patrick, Caroline Waters.
Yeah, now called Carolina.
Carolina.
Yeah, I think over this period, you know, a lot of us have found out how adaptable we are and how resilient we are. Given a set of constraints, you know, you find ways to, you know, maximize what we've got and minimize the constraints. You know, in construction, the biggest obvious constraint is that for the smaller sites, a restriction of 5 trades per site per day, and the restriction on moving from projects to projects. So that's been, you know, well and truly entrenched in the smaller sites now. On the bigger sites, of course, there's, you know, distancing and everything else. So there's a lot of management and scheduling. And all these projects that I'm sharing with you are really good examples of how adaptable and resilient we are. Carolina started just before the shutdown, but it's achieved amazing outcomes. Out of the 61 lots in stage 1, 39 have been sold. The works now still targeting completion in December this year. And one of the major issues they had there was to close down Sinclair's Road as part of their work. And actually this ended up being actually ideal time to close down Sinclair's Road because of the limited traffic up there. So the middle picture that you see in there is Sinclair's Road actually being constructed to allow for the turning lanes. And the other pictures are the internal drainage works and the roadway. They are on track to finish stage 1 before the end of this year. This is the latest update. And they've in fact commenced stage 2. So they are very, very confident, and stage 2 selling 45 lots, they've sold 14. So look, you know, in amongst all these doom and gloom, there's still a lot of people working really hard, and that's, you know, one case in point.
Patrick, can I just jump in there? I mean,
yeah.
We talk about constraints. Can I actually take my hat off to you and Anchorin, because, you know, when you made that decision to pretty much sell our JV partners lots within this development to Villa World at the time, the publicly listed company, you guys had the foresight to sort of see the extra costs and what was going to happen in the marketplace. And initially, when we had our meetings with these investors, the initial scenario was, oh, well, you know, are you sure we did the right thing? Could we have done better or made more money? Well, the fact that they're coming out with 100% this December is a credit to the research that you guys have done behind the scenes. And the one thing I want to keep reminding our investors, we don't do things just because it's a good idea. Yes, Dill and I work that way, for those of you that know Dill and I, but Patrick and Anchorin are going to research everything to the hilt. And the fact that you guys made the decision that it was in all investors' best interest to take that 100% and pocket it because of the extra costs of sewerage, etc., that we've explained to them. You know, once again, I just want to repeat, I think it was a great result for all of them. I do get the question coming up, are we still on track for December? And you tell me contractually that's all organised, so there's no hiccups there, right?
Oh yes, it's contractually. We've had many meetings with them. They'll deliver at the end of this year with the payout. Awesome. You know, this deal, when it started, it's always very hard to stay the course. I mean, you've done your work and you think, look, this is the best outcome. But when you present it, of course, there are a lot of dissension and people question you, and you sometimes even start thinking whether you make the right decision. But you know, it just goes to show that you really got to back yourself, and if you've done the right research and you've done the right work, legwork, we always back ourselves, you know, and this is another example of it's proving a good decision for all our investors.
And really that goes back to, let's go back to our values. When we talk about, yes, property and property development is our business, but we're putting people before business. And this was one situation where you and Anchorin looked at it and said, hey, this is a better deal for our investors. from an ego point of view and from a work point of view, I know you and your team would have preferred to see it through.
Yes.
The fact that you're actually, got someone partnering up on the side, it's being done, but you put our investors first. Again, I just want to take my hat off to both of you, because even I'll put my hand up, I questioned it at the time. Again, ego point of view, let's make it our development, but I think it's been the right thing. So congratulations on that. Let's move on to Rivers Run.
Yeah, great. Rivers Run, look, that's a, in total 420 lot development, so it's a much larger development. It consists of 4 different parcels. We've got 2 neighbors involved. We've got the rural conservation zone. We've got growling grass frog habitat. We've got Melbourne water. We've got DELP. We've got just about everybody involved. It is a difficult project, and it's involves so many people. I mean, I can't even start. And we've been amazingly busy over the last 6 months. The upshot of it all, though, is that stage 1, 57 lots have gone up to tender. We've got all our permits. We have got our agreements with our neighbors. Some of these agreements have been really hard fought, but we are there and it's out for tender. Depending on how the tenders are due, the tenders are due on Friday. Depending on how it comes through, we should be in a position to commence construction work before the end of this year.
Awesome. Can I just jump in there, Patrick? Just to remind everyone too, in the process of getting things ready for sale, we've worked spent a lot of significant time with agents, and we chose Red 23, who are specialists in that field, and working with a marketing company. It was decided to change Rivers Run to Little Springs. Now let's give people a little bit of an insight. We always envisaged the river, etc., but because currently, obviously, all the stormwater is not going into the creek, the marketing people decided that we wanted to leverage Caroline Springs, and Little Springs was a more appropriate name. So if you're searching Rivers Run, you're not going to find it, guys, apart from our stuff, I suppose, but you jump on the internet now and do a search. Little Springs has formally hit the market. It was due to hit the market about COVID time, and we had to sort of slow that down a little bit, but Patrick behind the scenes and the Red 23 team have been working with the marketing. Shortly, Patrick will share with you the photos of a sales suite that's been happening, and we're doing a lot of behind-the-scenes landscaping. And what I can share, Patrick, at last count, I think we've got, in a period of only about a month of pre-sales, I think we've got about 15 deposits already. So it goes to show what's happening in the marketplace. Yes, it's down a little bit. So our sales strategy has been, we've looked in the area and looked at all the competition, and to use, our investors understand 400 square metres, because a lot of them in RR1, 2, etc. were 400. Initially, prior to COVID, the average price for 400 square metres was roughly $350,000. In the current environment, the cheapest you'll find is about $330,000, and the most expensive you'll find is about $370,000. So it's still averaging similar prices. But with our strategy, what was very important, that we'd made the decision to go on the market pre-COVID. Everything was put in place to actually get the sales rate up. We're basically matching, I suppose, the cheapest prices in the area to get those first stages sold. And the advantage of that is obviously, like you said, we get our pre-sales in, the roads get done, the landscaping comes in, we really have a successful estate once we start jumping into our investor lots. Now, I understand that's going to start in stage 2. So in our sales next year, we'll start dripping in the investor lots. And what I do want to let everyone know is that's going to be done chronologically. So a lot of you sitting there remembering you're in RR1 or RR2 or RR2B or RR3. And I understand the first sales release is technically RR2, wasn't it, Patrick?
That's right.
Yeah. So even though we've released in RR2 because of services and the way of making it look streetwise and where we place the sales suite, etc., we're going to come back to you chronologically. So even if we are selling, for argument's sake, RR2 lots when we release investor lots, we'll be doing them chronologically and scheduling RR1 people first. So again, you want more info on that, you can call me, but I just wanted to clarify that because people are asking me, when do we see them starting to recoup their investment? And if I'm correct, Patrick, second stage of development after about 80 lots will start going into investor lots. Is that about right?
Correct. We've got 57 and then we've got 34. And after that, yeah, investment
after that, we're going to our investor lots. So based on current sales rates, if they're doing roughly 10 sales a month and we've got 80 lots, within about 8 months of selling, we can start to be looking at investor lots. So I would say within the next 6 months, we'll start giving people a bit of a plan and a timeline, and we'll be working on chronologically. So, you know, I'm just getting into the sales aspect. I'll let you go back to the development process. But generally, the two questions I get is, how's it going? What's the price? And when's my land coming out?
Yeah, fair enough. Look, Michael, I'll just go back to the name Little Springs. I think it encapsulates our estate really well because we're actually sitting in a peninsula of land and the Corroy Creek wraps around us. And Corroy Creek, as you know, and I think a lot of investors know, eventually will be the longest linear park in all of Victoria, stretching from Diggers Rest all the way to the bay. And it will be provided with a walking track, bicycle track, you know, by the creek side. Now, this is an amazing amenity. If you were to look back at, you know, what other properties along Mary Creek and the Yarra, you know, and the opportunities are tremendous. I mean, these things come once in a lifetime kind of thing. And it goes back to, I think, the research that we did a long, long time ago, you know, that we chose this area. And now we are able to highlight it. And hopefully the retail buyers actually understand that this is a really unique pocket of land. And I think the name really, you know, captures it really well, Little Springs.
Yeah, I think once that first stage is sold out and the landscaping comes, etc., then our strategy is to then ramp up the prices because by that stage it'll start to become very relevant, and we'll be out of this fear factor stage. You know, in reference to sort of land at the moment, since the government's put in the first home buyer grants, I'm still told that the demand is there. And the fact that we've got 15 pre-sales when agents can't meet anybody on site is a testament that the market is still there. Once we're up and running, I think, you know, when we get into those investor lots, I think we'll be back to premium prices. Yeah,
yeah. Okay, now we're talking about the sales office. The sales office is up and running. It's all fully fitted out. Over the last couple of months, they've been working on the landscape around the sales office. And we're providing a lot of the lots as part of the sales package, a front landscape design and construction. And we've got the sample 6 landscape being constructed, and it should be finished. In fact, I'm due for an inspection this afternoon to see the final outcome.
Lucky
There's
you.
Also, yeah, a big pun.
Lucky you.
That's right. Yeah, some of us can actually write our own permits. And then, of course, I mean, in time, we'll be developing the local park, and the local parks having the interface to the rural conservation zone and the creek. It's an exciting area too. It is not a big budget park, but notwithstanding, we see this as a real fine commercial community park with playgrounds, barbecue area, a half tennis court, a lot of meeting areas, and of course, it's the interface to the creek and the linear park, which is really a much larger park than what we can ever provide.
Yeah, I think all of us really can be excited what's coming there in the next 4 or 5 years. It's really, you know, once again, the foresight that you had in selecting that little pocket, I think was awesome.
Yeah, look, it's turning out, and we have to make sure that we enhance it. There's $2 million going into rural conservation zone itself. So we're spending a lot of money just rehabilitating that area, making sure that the sustainability aspect is maintained. And of course, there are all the authorities sitting over us to make sure that we follow that through.
And they're the extra costs that people don't see. You know, you can do a cheap development cookie cutter and have no amenity whatsoever, and your cost of construction is probably less per lot. But to do it properly and get premium prices, the stuff that's going on behind the scenes is essential, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's get into some of what we call commercial projects, or the other projects that we've done. And obviously the first and most successful one was the childcare centre in Mernda.
Yeah, look, that one there, as you all know, is an ongoing centre. And, you know, in March, we were really very close to, you know, breaking even. And of course, COVID hit and the government stepped in and made all manner of provisions. A lot of centres closed, but we were able to maintain a really healthy clientele. The staff welfare was, you know, also a primary consideration. There were all manner of separation of traffic flow. We restricted, you know, parents from coming into the centre, so they were collected outside the centre, and so on and so forth. The upshot of it all is that we've really, the occupancy has been really healthy, and in fact, over the last few weeks, it's picked up considerably. And you know, we haven't lost a day, and the staff, everyone's healthy, the kids are all happy, parents are happy, and I think we've got the foundation to really build, for the rest of the year, built a really good centre and well on the way to being a really profitable centre here.
And from an investor's point of view, Patrick, you know, as everyone in our community knows, I had a significant slice in that childcare centre, and that's really been my financial freedom vehicle. And what I can report to everybody, I'll report some numbers later on, but in relation to the actual investment itself, you know, every investor that was in an income process received their money every month, every quarter. When the project was finished, and then the tenancy came in and the rentals were coming in every month, everyone's getting their money in the bank. And later on, when I actually share the capital growth in that childcare centre, it actually has vindicated the choice of going into that space, and hence why we're now actively moving into that childcare space at the moment. And, you know, obviously a couple of projects that you'll be talking about moving forward, we are actively really looking over the next year or two, it may be looking at sort of at least half a dozen. So it's been a really, really good vehicle for us. And that's why at the end of the day, when we share the numbers, you'll see why we're actively looking at pursuing that even further.
Yeah, Michael, this one is Cranbourne North, and we're a month away from completing the childcare centre for 100 Place. Look, in terms of building the facilities, I think we can do it, you know, with our eyes closed, really. It's really about the management of these places. You know, when we take on the task of you know, managing it, I think the difference in our centre is going to be, or it has been in Mernda, and it's going to be in the future, our service provision. Our staff, we spend a lot of time and money in the staff training. We've got a PhD in early learning childhood education. She's fully involved with us. She helps us write blogs. She does staff training, and she also has got a lot of dialogue with the parents. We want to continue that because we feel that, look, the service provision, in our case, it's got to be next to none. You know, we've got to be the best in this area, and we've got to be right on top of the current thinking about, you know, play, learning through play, and care for the children. And our first learnings at Mernda's is now being applied for this one, Cranbourne North Childcare Centre, when it's completed. We are looking at the playground construction sometime in October, November, and then training in December with the view of starting operation in January next year for the Cranbourne North Childcare Centre.
So what that means to our investors, again, once again, everyone that was on the income side of it has been getting their money every quarter. Once the centre is finished in January and we've got that first rent-free period of a couple of months, then they'll start receiving their our other investors who share that project now with us and who share ownership will also be receiving their percentage of rental, and they'll also get the capital growth in that project as well. So, you know, the one thing I do have to say, and again, if our investors have realised one thing about Patrick and Angren, nothing gets done without research, and even that foray into, you know, thinking about controlling the childcare management. It wasn't done with just, again, no decision, because we realised that, yes, we have partners and we had people apply that wanted to lease our projects. And every time we looked at those applications, the one thing that kept on coming back is that the centre is only going to be as good as the manager. And then Patrick was able to source out some experts that we've partnered up with to create a management group and company that we actually can believe moving forward can take it up to 6, 10, whatever centres, knowing that we're the best in the field. So, that's something that's really, really important. As an investor, it's great for me to know that I've got the likes of Patrick and Anchor and backing us up, always doing that research and making sure that we want to, one, do it properly, but two, be the best in everything that we do. So thanks, Patrick.
No, you're welcome. Looking for this exciting area too. I'm really excited about it. The next one now, we're looking at the other childcare centre at 130 Central Parkway in Cranbourne West. That one there, unfortunately, just a little bit mired up in council proceedings. The latest advertising to the neighbours, it's gone out, but council's really affected by COVID-19. The whole process has just slowed down, but we're expecting to get an outcome sometime this month. Michael, you've probably got a little bit more to share?
Yeah, and notwithstanding, again, our investors in that, I think every investor in that was sort of part of the income. So we're getting their quarterly income. That hasn't changed. That hasn't stopped. Yes, COVID has affected this one with a little bit of delay behind the scenes with planning and an objector, etc. But, from an investor point of view, they're still getting their income. And when the outcome comes and the building gets built, then, we move on to the next one. So again, this is a really good example that even with COVID, even with slowdown, we have minimized the effect on our investors. So the only effect here is the capital growth component might be a little bit delayed, but as you'll see later on with the childcare centres, there's significant capital growth anyway. Our income clients haven't been affected in any way. And when you think about it, any other form of investment, I think 80% of landlords at the moment are suffering some form of either no rental or percentage rental. Our investors are getting their money quarterly at every single time. So again, I think it shows this form of investment, we're putting our investors first. The next one that we've also got, Patrick, was the Lifestyle Centre in Cranbourne West. And I'll start by saying that Patrick and the team have did their job by preparing all the plans, etc. And you may remember we were sharing that we were going to have 6 retail shops, offices upstairs, and then some residential Soho buildings at the rear. This is one project that due to COVID and due to the changes of the marketplace, we are spending a little bit more time in actually reviewing the product to make sure it suits. So a good example of that is we had about 300 square meters of office space upstairs. Now, generally nowadays with people working off Zoom, etc., we're a little bit concerned that at the end of the day, unless we have an end use for it, we don't want to be in a situation where we provide something that may or may not be taken up by the marketplace. We did a bit of research and we found that there could be potential there for medical centres, and we've been speaking to a few people. So what we're doing at the moment is actually reviewing the potential of actually getting medical centres and pharmacies and stuff like that as part of that project. So within the next month or so, we're actually seeking potential partners in that space at the moment and looking for tenants in the medical space. If it comes out that the project is better suited to convert to medical, then we'll be going back to Patrick and his team and adjusting the plans accordingly. So watch this space. Within the next couple of months, we'll actually know what the final product's going to be. But again, our investors in that project, getting their quarterly income every quarter, and our capital growth investors will be better served when we create a product that's actually going to be worth more at the end of it. Yes, it might be 6 or 12 months behind what we planned, but again, who planned COVID? But the beauty about it is, again, our investors are still getting their income, and our capital growth investors will come out with a product that will actually serve them better in the long term. So this is a really good example of actually being able to be nimble. Isn't that one of the benefits of our company, Patrick? We're not a big corporation that's like a big ship that takes 6 months to turn as to what to do. Being nimble, and I think that's something that you and Anchorin have always said, we want to be able to follow and be nimble for our investors' sake, correct?
Yeah, and Michael, the other, apart from being nimble, is that all the investments that our investors are in, we are in it as well.
Absolutely.
So, there's no such thing as we're selling a product. We don't sell any product that we are not involved ourselves. so that everything that has got a benefit, we benefit, of course, but if it's got a constraint, we find solutions for them.
Well, that's correct. If we purely didn't have any skin in the game, we could have just built this project the way it was planned. And then if we had vacancies upstairs, it's not our problem. But, we're trying to obviously look at that and get the best results. So absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Which leads us to the next project that, again, this one's had a slight effect by COVID. You may remember me sharing back in March that the Mernda commercial section had started construction. It's pretty much halfway there. And then we had a situation which I've shared with nearly everybody, but someone might not know, that our main tenant, anchor tenant, was Jump Swim Schools, which was creating a swim school because they loved the opportunity of being next to the childcare centre. They went into liquidation, which in turn made our funder a little bit nervous and asked us to basically validate what's happening with Jump before we proceeded. Then COVID came in. Well, the good news is Jump Swim School has actually been taken over now by a publicly listed company called the Belgravia Group, back on track. I'm in the process now of finalising the lease with that company, and we've been ticked off again by the funders, and I understand construction's back scheduled to start again shortly?
In October.
Cool. So we can expect the first quarter next year?
Yes. It's definitely achievable then, yeah.
Yep, so construction's starting again. Now that the construction is starting again and within probably 3 to 6 months of completion, we can now go back to the rental market. Again, during COVID, it didn't make sense to be looking to tenants to go into businesses, but once COVID comes out, we'll start a marketing campaign and find the 3 tenancies for the retail shop. So again, our investors though, they've been in there, they'll come out with a project that then they will be able to get the good capital growth that comes from it. So again, every project that we spoke about, there are positives. There are 1 or 2 negatives caused by COVID, which we have found a solution for, and that's our role, like you said. And moving forward, everyone comes out of all the projects achieving what they actually wanted to achieve, which really leads me into talking about some of the past projects and returns and why this year has been a really, really great year. I said that every single person that's been touched by this company or has trusted this company to produce for them is starting to see the merits of it. Carolina, repeat, 100% December this year. You look at the childcare sector, now that I'm about to share some numbers with you, you'll see why it actually is something that we want to keep going into. Our Class A investors, they were all paid out every quarter. Now, Class A was income. So everyone was paid out their income all at the time they received, they were getting their 8.15% every quarter. But the next one of the people that remained in, that share ownership, when we actually look at the rental yield of that product, and based on evaluation by the funders, look at the growth, guys, over 200%. Now, I'm not saying that we promise to do that every single project that we do, but the fact that we actually went into a new sector and created something special, moving forward, all our investors can expect really good returns in that childcare space. Cranbourne North, I can start to predict, a rental of $300,000 a year is basically, based on valuations of 5 to 6%, is going to make that centre worth between 5.5 and 6 million. And I think it was a cost of around 4 million, roughly. I'm just giving rough figures. So there's going to be some really good capital growth for our capital growth clients. The income clients have been getting their 8.15% quarterly. You look at every single project or every single investment that our people have gone in, they've been getting the returns. And even Mernda, it was a good example. We had delays there because of a roundabout for over a year, if you remember, Patrick.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Our income investors benefit from those delays anyway, because they kept on getting a really great return, per quarter anyway. And our capital growth investors, have a look at the number. The fact that it might have taken a year longer, the fact that they went into a sector that's created over 200% capital growth is worth the wait, isn't it? So if you're then taking that long-term view of all your investments, again, we're not into speculating. This is not the company to put your money into for 6 months and we're going to promise you're going to make 100% return, etc. But really, we take advantage of opportunities. And then, like Patrick said, because we have skin in the game, because it's our money, we're going to do the absolute best by you accordingly, because we're doing the best by ourselves. Now, that leads us into the current climate. Everybody's fearful about tomorrow. Most of you out there who maybe have not spent enough time with us, when we talk about future investment, you get a little bit nervous and hesitant. Is this the right time? Well, you know what? The seasoned investors, what do? Exactly what Warren Buffett said. Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. Now's the time. Over the last 6 months during COVID, I think we've probably done DD on about a dozen projects or something, haven't we, Patrick? With that in mind, we've got some really good gems coming up shortly. I'm not here today to product peddle, because we've changed the model. The model is trying to suit your needs with what we have, but I do want to excite you with what's coming up and give you the opportunity that if you like to review what's going on, and even more importantly, I'm going to take one step back. Anybody out there still a little bit concerned about their situation, what's going on within our community, I promise you there is someone that can help you. This has got nothing, I'm not even talking about finances now at the moment. If there's anybody out there that just wants an ear, pick up the phone, ring Mary. If you need help with any form of space, and I'm not suggesting our business is a one-stop shop for everything, but you know what? Within our community of, 300 or 400 people, I'm sure there is someone there that can help you with anything. So if you need help with anything, please pick up the phone, give Mary a call, ring me personally if you need, and I'm sure I can put you in touch with someone that can actually help you with anything in the situation. I know that Flick or Felicity, our marketing person, has been busy putting together a Facebook page specifically for you, which is coming shortly. You'll understand that. Link onto that. We're going to be able to give you opportunities. We're going to be able to help you with any needs that you have. But now let me excite you with what's coming up. We spoke about childcare and we spoke about how excited we are about it. We're in the process now of putting together a childcare centre within Little Springs. So, not only are we excited about our project in Deanside called Little Springs, we see that there is an opportunity to do some childcare in there, and that will have the potential for actual ownership. So if you want to get involved in actually sharing and having shares in that childcare centre along with us, let me know. Another one out in Charlemont. Now, why we've put Geelong there, because Patrick's been doing some research over the years, and the Core Logic video that I put out yesterday actually verified it and vindicated that the regional areas are booming greater than our growth areas within metropolitan area at the moment, aren't they, Patrick?
Yeah, they certainly are. And in fact, the VPA, Victorian Planning Authority, have shifted their focus from the growth areas to the regional areas. So a lot more attention and money's been poured into this area. But Charlemont and another one that you're going to talk about, Marshall, yep. It really excites us at the moment, because if you know Armstrong Creek at all, Armstrong Creek is away from Geelong, but it happened to be on this really important traffic route between Geelong and the Bellarine Peninsula, from Torquay onwards. And that's why Armstrong Creek has been a success, even though it's in a really odd area. Now, this is between Armstrong Creek and the city of Geelong, and it still has got the infrastructure service like train stations within walking distance. So not only has it got the traffic that allows you to connect Geelong to the Bellarine, it also has all the infrastructure that are already there. In fact, I think it's actually a better area than Armstrong Creek, to be honest. And that's why we're really excited about Charlemont and Marshall.
Yeah, so, basically when you look at those regional areas, for those of you that are into football, Armstrong Creek was when the area that Clinton Casey, Bomber Thompson, all these guys got involved in and made significant funds, not utilising greenfielding. That was more land banking. They bought it, they sat on it, and then sold it to somebody. We're actually taking it to the next level, and that Geelong area is really exciting. That Armstrong Creek has been a huge success, but as Patrick said, the one thing that it does not have is a train station. You know, these projects in Marshall and Charlemont that we're coming through, they're walking distance to train stations. They're going to have the infrastructure, etc. Now, they're going to be a greenfielding project. We're predicting the childcare in Charlemont is probably a 2-3 year project. The actual land development might be 4 or 5 or 6 based on services. Isn't that right, Patrick?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So that's a greenfielding product. So those of you who are looking for the next greenfielding product, outside Geelong, we're going to have 2 projects there. And the one in Marshall's really exciting because for the first time within our greenfielding model, we're also going to have different entry points. So at the end of the day, you know, up until now, really all our investment models have been 100 plus, you know, 100, 200 minimum. In this instance, Marshall will have entry points as little as 60 or 80,000. I know there's only a limited amount of smaller lots with those cheaper entry points, but that's going to be really exciting for some of our investors who want to diversify a little bit. And for those of you who are looking for something for 2 years, we've been fortunate enough to actually find a site in Diamond Creek, and we're partnering up with a very experienced developer there as well. It's almost one of the last parcels in Diamond Creek, and that's only going to be a 2-year development. So if you're looking for something short term, you know, don't want to wait 5 or 6 years, then Diamond Creek might be really worth you looking at as well. I'm not going to go into numbers, and as I said, I'm not here to product peddle, but if you want to review what's going on, the one thing that I've been kept really, really busy with over this COVID period is some of our business partners have taken the opportunity to actually help their clients. You know, I know David from Venture Advice, who's a financial planner and superannuation expert, has really been working with his clients to help them take advantage of the current environment. I've been speaking to a lot of people about their property portfolio. Peter and Amalia have been doing the same, speaking to their client bases about where the market is and the opportunities coming up within property to help them. So if you want to give us a call, the details are there. You should already know our details. You know, give us a call, send us an email. Let's arrange a quick Zoom catch up. Yes, this dinosaur has now got used to this medium, so we can get on and have a quick chat and let you know what's happening and help you move forward during this time. You know, rather than maybe spending the whole day on Netflix, spend an hour thinking about yourself and your future and give us a call, and we're able to help you through it. So, you know, I hope that we could have met under better circumstances, but we will be doing that shortly. More importantly, we want you to stay safe. We want you to basically think about tomorrow, and we want to be there to help you. Once again, on all our investors' behalf, I'd actually like to thank Patrick and Anchor and our core team who make sure that, you know, our money's looked after, the projects are working in the right sort of way, and we can feel safe about them. And then, you know, myself and Dill and the team that are looking for all these projects will continue to find these opportunities for you. Just reach out. And let's see if we can help you move forward. We look forward to hopefully seeing you with our next event. It's probably going to be in the new year. I think Flick, she's probably going to give me a nod. Yep, it's probably going to be in the new year where we get together with all our investors again. But would love to catch up with each and every one of you in the meantime, if you'd like to have a chat and let you know what's going on. So, Patrick, thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving us that concise information, and more importantly, by exciting us with what's been going on behind the scenes.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, everyone. Really look forward to meeting all of you in person soon. But, you know, if it doesn't happen, look, we've got this down pat now. We can do it again.
Yes. So, guys, more importantly, stay safe. The hardest thing to do at the moment is maintain positivity. I get it if we just focus on the negatives, but let's just be positive about the future, and we look forward to helping you and seeing you again. So signing off again, look forward to seeing you. And more importantly, you know, you would have got this video now with a link from Felicity for our Facebook page. You know, that's going to be for you. It's actually a closed group called Intelligent Investors, and it'll be updating you with what's going on. We'll be getting regular updates from Patrick. I'm happy to keep you updated with the marketplace. Amalia, Peter, David, everyone will basically have some insights for you. So moving forward, that'll be a great space for you to also ask any questions or share with friends and family. And I'm going to leave with one thing. March, I predicted and asked for your help to grow this group from within. I'd like to thank those of you who have actually sent their family and friends for our help. And it's been happening during this period. In actual fact, you know, the amount of new investors that have come on from internally from our group has been really humbling, because we know that we're then doing the right thing by you. So please keep that coming. I know that Mary's been reaching out to you, looking at ways of how we can grow our group internally. And we'd like to actually reward you and help you along with any needs that you have. And we're putting together a rewards program to do that. So please give her some feedback, give her some input on what you feel we should do. And we look forward to catching up again soon. Once again, stay safe and look forward to seeing you.
See you guys. Bye.